top of the morning to you. It's Stefan Molyneux here, and have we got a cracker of a show for you today.
The Stefan Molyneux Show.
We don't ask for money and we don't talk shite. That's our new jingle. Yes, I know it's crap, but it didn't cost very much money to produce. Here we are on the Emerald Isle of Somalia, ready to give you another great show. Are you there, my producer, Michael O'Flattery? Oh, here we go again. Sorry, folks, we haven't got a proper studio and Mike's based in the toilet just now. Mike! Sorry, Steve. Come on, let's get on with it. What have you got for us today, Mike? Yep, I've got a letter from a chap called Dave Bishop, and he says, Dear Steve, can you please review a show by Stefan Molyneux entitled The Rape of Europe? The way he presented it was dishonest and exposed him for the fraudulent scumbag that he is. That's from Dave Bishop. Thank you, Dave. Yes, we've had a look at it. But first, let's take a quick look at the arrogant scumbag himself, celebrating the decision for the UK to leave the European Union.
Oh, man! That's some good stuff. It's a UK vintage, pretty recent. This is sort of an amalgam of the bloody tears of brain-dead Brussels busybody bureaucrats who might now actually have to go and get real jobs.
Well, that's pretty rich coming from someone who also doesn't have a real job. But here's someone else who's celebrating Mr. Molyneux. You might recognise her. She was a guest on your show not that long ago.
I am so proud of this country having the courage to believe in itself.
So here is that show.
Hey, are you concerned about rape culture? I know I am. Somebody else on the planet also concerned with rape culture, Tony Bugle of the activist group M.A.R.I.A.S, which is Mothers Against Radical Islam and Sharia.
And by the way, Tony's been on other shows too.
Glad to have our next guest. Her name is Tony, and she's the founder of M.A.R.I.A.S.
Our very special guest, Tony Bugle.
And Tony Bugle's on the right of our screen.
My guest is Tony Bugle.
Back by popular demand, Tony Bugle.
Now, before we go any further, a little background history. There was a big scandal in a place called Rotherham in England where it was revealed that Pakistani gangs were sexually abusing young girls. The estimated figures are over 1,400 children within a period of 16 years. Now, a Labour MP, Sarah Champion, made a statement saying that child sex gangs could have assaulted as many as 1 million youngsters in the UK. Could have. Now, to achieve that figure, it would take another 714 Rotherhams, and that's simply not possible. But it would appear that Tony Bugle is now spreading the statement as fact. And good old Stefan, of course, had to get her on his show.
I wonder if you can tell us how many girls, according to your calculations and statistics, are suffering from rape culture in the UK.
There's been over 1 million predominantly white girls that have been targeted, groomed, raped, trafficked, tortured.
That is a shocking statistic.
It is shocking, Stefan. And if you'd done some research, you would have known this was not true.
I haven't seen the research.
Of course you haven't. But hey, why don't you go ahead and repeat this fictional story?
So this is 1 million predominantly white girls groomed or raped by Pakistani men, mostly in the UK. Where is the media in all of this? Is it connecting with the people's outrage about this at all?
The media don't want to touch it.
Well, Tony, I don't know where your head was. Probably up your arse, because from where I stood, it was never off the bloody TV.
The appalling abuse of at least 1,400 children.
And I can tell you that there is a problem.
Don't want to touch it.
How bad is it, and has the message got across?
The large-scale child abuse in Rotherham.
Don't want to touch it.
Why did nobody talk about sexual abuse of children by the clergy as a white problem?
Well, they did more than touch it there, Tony. And nice to see that the Catholic Church weren't left out in the cold.
This has been happening in England and the UK for many years. I myself was raped when I was 15. They weren't Muslims who raped me. However, it did force me into a position of being homeless on the streets.
Well, Tony, a little voice inside me told me that something wasn't ringing true about your good self. And I remembered something you once said.
The one thing that they never wanted was people having the ability to research things.
Well, Tony, that's very interesting. And we took your advice and decided to
research things.
And that's exactly what we did.
I haven't seen the research.
That's blatantly obvious, Mr. Molyneux. But here's what we found. Can you play the video, Mike? Yep, Here it comes.
At age 15, you were violently raped by a Pakistani Muslim gang. And because of that, you've pretty much dedicated your entire life with your organization, M.A.R.I.A.S.
Well, she was raped by a Pakistani gang. But on M.A.R.I.A.'s show, she said...
I was raped when I was 15. They weren't Muslims who raped me.
So how do you explain your previous interview then? Okay, let's move on.
We talk about no-go zones. What they do have is areas where it wouldn't be safe for someone like me, who has the opinions that I have, to walk down that street.
I'm not bloody surprised.
There is no integration. There is a segregation. They keep themselves apart completely.
So she says Muslims don't want to integrate, but now it seems like Tony doesn't want to integrate with the rest of the UK.
I don't class myself as British. I'm English. I'm an English Brit.
Then she tries to make out that English people can't call themselves English anymore.
So we can't call ourselves English. That's a no-no.
Now, will Molyneux ask her why she can't call herself English? No. Have you got any data on that, Mike? Well, according to the book, People Who Can Call Themselves English, it says, when the Romans left in the 5th century, the Emperor M.A.R.I.A.S decreed that the people could call themselves English again. But Tony is most definitely English.
There will always be an England. The English do have an identity. You will not strip it from us any longer.
If you look closely, you might see her in this crowd. You see, Tony had connections with the extreme right-wing group, the English Defence League. She tried to deny it, of course, but someone found her tweets that she thought were deleted. Let's take a look at them. And there you have it. Investigative journalism, all done by using Google.
I really appreciate the time that you spent today, Tony. A real pleasure to chat, and I hope we can do it again.
Now just take a look at that smile on Molyneux's face. Is that the face of someone who's just been discussing the rape of 1 million youngsters? It looks like the cat that got the cream, if you ask me. You're right. He got exactly what he wanted.
So thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Molyneux, if you had indeed done your research, you would have known that the 1 million girls abused claim was nothing more than a flippant remark by a politician, because there is absolutely no data anywhere in the world to back this up as fact. You would also have discovered that the media did indeed cover the Rotherham story, and that Tony Bugle had already appeared on another channel before coming onto your show 6 months earlier. And in that interview, she completely contradicted what she said on your channel with regard to not being raped by a Muslim gang. And had you checked your information... Hey, Steve. What? Maybe Molyneux did do his research. But he couldn't have. He would have... He always claims to do research. Remember this.
See, I don't wear a lot of makeup here. I don't wear a lot of makeup. In fact, I wear no makeup. Why? Because I actually do some research, right?
Now watch this.
I wonder if you can tell us how many girls, according to your calculations and statistics, are suffering from rape culture in the UK.
Now you see what he did there? What? He said, according to your calculations and statistics.
According to your calculations and statistics.
Of course. Her words, not his. That's right. It keeps him in the clear of any accusations of false reporting, because it was her telling the lies and not him. What a conniving bastard he is. All he wanted was...
Been over 1 million predominantly white girls.
Well, Mr. Molyneux, you're an absolute disgrace. You put out a video to a possible 420,000 subscribers, and in doing so caused even more Muslim hatred than there already is. And by doing so, put the lives of many innocent people in danger. You are without a doubt a devious, dishonourable and despicable human being.
There's thousands of comments out there on Facebook, on EDL websites, everywhere that are anti-Muslim, calling to kill all Muslims in the UK, kill all Muslims everywhere.
As for Tony Bugle, well, let's hope she's not applying for the job as British ambassador to Germany.
Angela Merkel. Do you have any thoughts on Angela Merkel, her behaviour, her policies?
Miss Angela Merkel. I don't understand why she has to call herself Angela when it's quite clearly Angela.
Well, good luck with that one, Tony. And let's leave the last word with Mr. Molyneux.
We all know there's no such thing as free. So this show, of course, being about personal integrity, I think it's incumbent upon you, if you're consuming these resources, to help out, to pay. It's 50 cents a show is what I request.
Well, this show got 65,000 views. That means $32,500. My God, the price of horseshit these days.
I think it's a pretty reasonable price for the quality. Where are you going to get these kinds of guests, these kinds of conversations, these kinds of insight? And you know that what is eventually going to win the war of good and evil is the amount of resources and talent and passion that is applied.